In this part of the homemade mini bike build series, I'm going to be showing you some basics about making a frame jig. You can make one out of wood, or you can use a welding table and use measurements out of steel. I'm going to give you the measurements to use as a base, and you'll see later on that you can change these to get a custom mini bike of your own. And a nozzle flow through. Tube just comes down to the side, up. Ooh, air filter.
What a day. Might as well give it a...
Now, although you can use a welding table and these measurements on there just the same, I'm going to show you how to do this with a 4x24 piece of flat stock pressed wood. I'm going to show you the measurements here to put together a basic frame jig, and then show you how to adapt things to make your own customizations to it. Not everything has to be the same, but it's nice to have a base to start at. So, in this particular build, we're going to be taking a look at a 24-inch by 48-inch piece of flat base, and it has to be very flat, very important. A single 2x4, a 1.5-inch metal tube that's perforated. We have a actual wheel balancing kit that I stole this out of, pretty inexpensive. These are wheel balancing cones, a couple of synthetic shims, some glue, some duct tape, some screws, and a clamp, and we have ourselves a frame jig. Taking a look at a fully assembled frame jig, you'll notice that it's sort of crude in its own form, even though I have this lovely piece of technology over here known as a digital angle. I have two movable blocks, and then I have some more measurements up in here for the tabs. Now, everything is starting for all the measurements at this corner, and that's very important. I do not measure from this side here, and I do not measure from the far side over here. I measure everything from this edge and this edge going up. Let us begin with the first piece that goes in place right here. Now, the most important tool that you're going to have in this is going to be both a straight edge as well as something to get your edges very flat. And I'm not going to go over how to cut wood or how to set things up on a metal frame jig. You can change this to get a custom mini bike of your own. This is one of many homemade mini bikes I'm going to show you in the build series. It's a great starting point for everyone just to get their feet a little wet. So, very first part that I have going in here is going to be 9 3/4 inch from here to here. And I did that just to set up my tabs a little bit longer so I can put multiple variations of tabs in here, get a few different mini bikes or snow bikes, whatever I have going with it. 9 3/4. I'm going to cut another one 9 3/4 and make sure that they are the exact same size, and they're going to be coming from this edge. This edge must be square, so if it's not factory square, you're going to have to true that up. Now, this first measurement here sets the stage for the rest of the mini bike, so we are measuring directly off of this corner here. We're going to be 6 3/4 inches in, and you have to make sure that this edge right here is completely flat, and that the edge underneath is also completely flat. If you're working with metal, you have less of a concern because you have things that are adjustable. Typically, it's factory true. A nice flat surface and some sandpaper could be able to true that up. It does not matter how thick this edge is. Do not worry about that. Just make sure this is flat and make sure it is square at 90 degrees facing upright so that your bottom is true as well. Now, you're going to have another one over here that's 9 3/4 coming off this edge at 17 1/4. Now, this piece is your next piece coming in. I say minus 10 because it's 10 minus the shaved tabs for the 1/4 inch sides. You'll want to have 2 1/4 inch pieces of steel, and this can change depending on what kind of tabs do you want. This particular example, I'm using 1/4 inch steel for my axle tabs, and you'll see some variations of that coming up so that I have a nice chain tensioner in there. Make sure that whatever is going to happen is your axle tabs will fit snug and secure inside of here. Make sure that it is flush coming across this side as well, and that you have your framing square, making sure that everything is true for here on this face. This is where the end of your mini bike is going to be lining up. Now, this is where you can get a little bit more creative on the width of your mini bike if you like, but as an example, we have 9 5/16 wide by 3.5. I chose not to actually make the piece of wood come out at an angle here, although it would last longer because you're going to get this frame bumped into, but it's a very easy way to just cut it to 9 5/16. Your marker is going to be about 8 1/8 to the frame plate that I'll be showing you coming up. 14 7/8 is where you want to put a mark. 17 1/2, you'll also want to put another mark. And you're coming 8 inches in from that edge to line up for your corner there and your corner there. This is where your adjustable block is going to come in and sit between those two corners to be able to hold your frame in place. Now on this side, you're looking at 16 inches in and 15 1/2 inches in. Again at 14 7/8 and 17 1/2. And then you'll just be lining up your marker on that side. And that'll keep the frame together as you're putting it in. The two frame shims that I'm using here could be because you have a little bit of variance between your two sides. You don't necessarily need those shims if you got a perfect frame that's built up, but it's nice to have those shims just in case. 13 inches tall plus 1/4 inch. And then 1/4 inch, I'm using a top plate. And this middle plate is more important because as you have the mini bike frame pushing against there, you can create a dent and create some variance in the structure. So it is very important to have something very solid right here as you put the mini bike up against it. This point where I'm going to try and line up the center of the frame comes in at 12 inches from this edge. So now this, you need to make sure it's very square coming up on this side and very square coming up here for this angle as well. We got one last measurement here, 41 1/2. So this sits 41 1/2 inches from that side where we're measuring from. Now our neck isn't very complicated. You just need to make sure that you have some sort of a cone system in place, like the wheel balancing cones here, to be able to put it at a good angle. And you'll want to make sure that you have a nice level as well. That digital angle that I showed you earlier, very nice one to use. So I'm taking our piece of perforated metal here and I'm lining up one of these holes as center as I can to my mini bike when it's in the jig though. You simply need to have it at this point for the future. And I'll show you how to do that once we're actually setting up the frame itself. So this will be lined up. The duct tape is so that you actually just stabilize it in place. It's pretty inexpensive to make. Last considerations for the building process, because it is made out of wood and it's very porous, you're going to be absorbing things. I did clear coat the top and underneath on the bottom so it'll last a little bit longer. I'm going to be doing a few frame builds with it and I want to make sure that it's going to be able to last. So let's jump into part 2 now and show the construction of a basic frame. Now that you have some basic measurements to start on, you'll be able to adjust things over time and get a custom mini bike to your liking. So this whole video series, I'm actually 2 months in. And it's taken me a while to make sure that I can set everything up. I actually made the frame jig after I made a couple of prototype frames. So I do know that this will work out just as a base for a 440cc engine, a built 212 engine with the race clutch, with torque converter, with jack shafts, small wheel size, large wheel size. You'll see coming up. I've got quite a few frame builds. Feel free to like and subscribe, it does help me out. I'm going to be showing you the full build series here, step by step. Coming up in part 2, don't be worried about the more expensive tools that I'm going to be using here. I'll show you the less expensive alternatives as well for a homemade mini bike. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you have a great day.